maybe on your second point about centralization, um, I I don't really believe in the sort of I believe in crypto in terms of the currency stuff, but I don't think a decentralized crypto type of social network will really work, because you you really need an entrepreneur and someone driving product development and creating a really, really good product when you have products that really depend on user interactions and a lot of people using them. And like Linux is a really good example. I mean, Linux is there, but hardly anyone uses it. Only geeks use it because it's just not, it doesn't have that user interface that people can use it easily. And I think if you try and create a distributed social network, you're going to run into the same problems that Linux ran into versus, say, Apple. So, you know, Apple has like a really strong leader in Steve Jobs, who is driving UX, driving products, making sure things work properly, and you can see where the iPhone ended up. So I think social network is similar because you need everyone to be on social media, and you need really, really good product development, which I guess if you don't have centralization, it's I think a really, really hard task. But I could be wrong.
Just for example, you're talking about the user interface and all the different bells and whistles that are embedded in there. They can't be judged and refined without some sort of centralized planner and driving force. That's your contention. And if you just put out this, I don't know how that would work on a social media sphere, how it would not be like the user interface itself is designed, but the underlying tech of, I guess, sharing all these bits of user generated content, that is blockchained. I mean, there's Odyssey and other things that are trying to do that, but can you give me an example so I can see?
Theoretically, what you could have is you could have all the content on a blockchain, and then you could have apps that actually selectively select which parts of that content you can actually see in the app.
Okay.
So you could have like an undestructible blockchain storage of content which you can't censor. But then what kind of product do you build on top of that, and who builds that product? Is it a concerted effort between open source developers? Is it a company that does that? But then as soon as it's a company, it becomes a lot more centralized.
Because you're choosing what people see.
Yeah.
Like you need to build the algorithms that drive engagement. And, you know, with Twitter, I get a central news feed where I'm having problems with it, but because it's just showing me the same content over and over and over again. But you're saying that somebody's going to have to do the selecting, and the selecting by definition is centralized.
Yeah. And especially because in tech, you can't, like it's a really, really nice dream to have, you know, censorship resistant, zero censorship content and newsfeed, but you run into so many problems. The biggest one probably being child porn. Like every single platform that's ever been created as sort of no censorship ends up with loads and loads of child porn. But you know, you have people pretending they're not advertising when really they're advertising. You have people just trolling and trolls can be a big problem in a community because they are actively trying to destroy conversation. You potentially have foreign governments interfering with the content. So you have to, you know, there has to be some sort of control on what you display, and at that point you're going to start centralizing censorship or moderation or whatever you want to call it. So my theory, I guess, is that you have to let the market solve these problems, and the market will create lots and lots of different social media companies. And you can see, you know, TikTok came out of nowhere. Odyssey.
They kind of had the Chinese government behind them, if you believe the rumors, though.
Yeah, well, let's hope there'll be other examples. But I think it's a long game. It's not going to be an instant change. But rather than thinking about decentralized, no censorship, I think it's going to be about choosing who moderates your content and what the ideology of the person who moderates is going to be.